Hello there, friends of Gigantic, and welcome to yet another different type of video. Now, I've been posting some up until launch and all that, and I would like to post, other types of videos and use gameplay. I have some ideas here and there, but to be honest, I'm struggling a bit, so we'll see how this goes. Let me know what you think, if you have ideas or feedback or anything. And yeah, we'll see. But the footage here in the background, as you see, is from I played Ashling yesterday on stream, and I tested recording the stream because it's really been bugging me in the quality. So I tried a setup where I record it, and yeah, it works really well. So I'm gonna keep doing that, and the new videos should have better quality overall. Now it will be mixed because I still have old videos, so it's gonna be both for a while. But after that, it should only be like the good ones, I suppose. Yeah, I'm playing Ashling here, and it's mostly because I tend to have people joining the stream and they're like, "Can you play Ashling? And how do you change the the way Cador looks, like the ghost guy?" Well, when that comes up, I always tell them, "Well, you change the way he looks by actually changing the skin of the weapon, right? That's what you have to change." And I always briefly talk about how sad the lore is when it comes to Ashling and Cator. So I figured for this video, I will talk about Ashling and Cador. I will try and summarize it as best I can, but I find it to be the one that's really stuck with me, and I find it pretty interesting. So I would like to know what you guys think. Yeah, to start off, to no one's surprise, I suppose, Ashling comes from a very noble family. So her family is extremely well known in the kingdom, as they're very loyal and they have their dedication is unmatched essentially. But I think we should start with Sir Cador, which is the spectral knight or ghost you want to call it. Now, Cador, if you haven't figured it out yet, is Ashling's dead father. So Cador was an extremely well-known war hero. He was legendary. He was extremely dedicated. Whenever he joined battles on the battlefield, they would always win, all that stuff. He was out of his world, basically. So what happened was he was part of a big fight on the battlefield, and they won that, as they do, and every time they would win, they would celebrate it. Now, this one time, when came time to celebrate the victory on the battlefield, they could not find Cador. So what had happened was he actually had immediately left after the battle to go home to the capital where Ashling was, because she was sick, she was ill, and Cador would literally do anything to protect Ashling. She needs to be safe, and he would literally kill anyone, or he himself willing to die to keep her safe. So turns out that some people, some members of the same house as him, which is the faction that they're in, did not really agree with his methods. Now, what happened here is that, or what is believed at least, is that someone from within his ranks who did not agree with him at all actually betrayed him and murdered him. So Cador does not know who killed him, and therefore he is actually unable to ascend into the afterlife. So instead, what happened was his soul was sealed into his own sword until they find the identity of who actually murdered him. So with this, Ashling, of course, extremely furious. This was not actually something Cador expected, but extremely angry, of course, understandably, and she really wanted to destroy those who basically went against her dad and murdered him. And before the actual funeral of her dad, she had already started plotting her revenge. So what happened was, at the actual funeral, she took or grabbed the sword of the Cador's sword, and just decided, I'm gonna go on my own way, right? I'm gonna figure this out, basically. Now, Ashling herself, she was trained in swordplay from a very young age, so she already knew how to fight and she can take care of herself very well. And during her upbringing, it was expected for her to actually follow in her family's footsteps, right? They were like defenders of this whole kingdom and very loyal and all that. But she is actually quite rebellious, so she would rather, take her own path and do her own thing, basically, because her only goal is to figure out who killed her dad, so he can actually ascend to the afterlife, right? She wants to let him be free, essentially. So that is her goal, and that is what she fights for. So she doesn't really care about this whole like, oh, you have these 5 massive factions or great houses that fight each other, like they fight over control of the world. She's like, whatever, I'm just here to do my own thing, and I want to find out who killed my dad. That is basically it. So it's been very interesting to read the lore around Ashling, because there are notes from the different houses and how they see her, like how she would grab the sword and she would actually use like I think they call it plasma, whatever, to actually command, which is weird when you think about it, but command Sir Cador, which is her dead father's like ghost or whatever you want to call it, right? So she's controlling this plasma using the sword and his soul in the weapon itself. But they're working together, right? She doesn't see that as like the way they work. It very much, Ashling feels like it works for her. So it's a tool, and obviously she wants to help her dad so he can move on, and she wants to do her own thing. So it's a very interesting but a very sad story, and yeah, like I said, it's the one that's really stuck with me. So yeah, it's probably the most interesting one I found so far. But we'll see, who knows. Yeah, that is the short version of Ashling and Sir Cator, the father-daughter combo, and trying to figure out who betrayed her dad and let him move on. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think, and I hope to see you in the next one.